Labor Day is a holiday that pays tribute to the contributions and achievements of the American worker. It was created by the labor movement in the late 19th century and became a federal holiday in 1894.
There's a lot to talk about when it comes to labor.
And Janet Payne would know. As vice president of the Torrance Historical Society and Museum, she sifted through hundreds of artifacts, including ledgers of early Torrance workers dating back to the city's early days more than 100 years ago. In fact, the city was founded as a solution to growing labor unrest in downtown Los Angeles.
It had to do with unions and, of course, what we think of as labor.
Torrance reference librarian Michael George pinpoints when that unrest came to a head. On October 1st, 1910, a bomb exploded in the non-union Los Angeles Times building, killing 20 people. On Christmas Day, another bomb blast followed at Llewellyn Iron Works. This growing strife prompted a Pasadena businessman and entrepreneur named Jared Sidney Torrance to begin laying plans for building a workers' paradise away from downtown.
His thought would be if the worker is involved in his community because he owned his house, then he would be a better worker, he would be happier and more productive. There's a great cartoon from 1913 Sunset Magazine. When the men eat from dinner pails in the factory yard, the after-dinner speaker is often the labor agitator. But when men rather eat from their home, with produce grown from their own garden, industrial serenity ensues. And that was kind of his idea.
He found a parcel of land owned by the Dominguez family heirs on Rancho San Pedro. It was ideally situated between the San Pedro Harbor and the city of Los Angeles. At that time, farmers and ranchers were the area's largest economic engine. Torrance paid the Dominguez Land Company close to $1.5 million for 3,500 acres. To design his new city, he enlisted the help of noted landscape architect Frederick Law Olmsted Jr. His portfolio included the Jefferson Memorial and White House grounds. His father, Olmsted Sr., had been instrumental in the City Beautiful movement. It was a late 19th century philosophy of architecture and urban planning popular in North America. Its advocates believed beautification and monumental grandeur would promote harmonious social order and increased quality of life in urban areas. Olmsted Jr.'s design would locate the city's early smokestack businesses on the north and east sides. It placed the residential area to the south and west.
He originally hired Olmsted Jr. to construct a model industrial city. And his thought was to have not a company town where the manufacturers own the workers' housing, but to have an area where a worker can afford to keep his own house, have within walking distance of his plant. He also, of course, wanted to make money on this because he was a businessman, and by selling the workers' cottage to the workers, that might create profit.
An example still standing is this 800-square-foot cottage in Old Torrance. Records show it was home to a Torrance foundry worker in 1920. Jared Sidney Torrance's ties to railroad magnate Henry Huntington would prove another labor boon. It helped lure heavy industry players such as Union Tool and the Llewellyn Iron Works to the newly formed city.
He knew and he promised the two big steel companies, this big steel company and the tool company, that he could bring the track right up to their back door, their loading dock. And he knew that he could get the stuff down to the port to go by ship. He already had those connections.
The world's largest electric rail system, the Pacific Electric Railway, would transport workers into the city on the red car. Torrance would also become home to the system's maintenance facility. By 1914, the young city was taking shape, but World War I, a global pandemic, and a recession would prove snags to Torrance's well-laid plans. No one could afford to buy the cottages. But despite early challenges, Jared Sidney Torrance lived to see his city begin to flourish. Just 2 months shy of an election vote to incorporate the city of Torrance, Jared Sidney Torrance passed away. That same year, oil was discovered and the city turned into a boom town overnight. The presence of oil drilling supplier Union Tool would aid in its development. Torrance celebrated local industry and its workers with a 2-day festival in the 1930s and 40s called the Factory Frolic. Activities included a community parade, sporting events, and dances, shining a spotlight on the city's growing roster of industries, shown here in these Torrance Herald newspaper archive issues. Through the years, the labor landscape would gradually transform from farming and heavy industry into light industry and tech. Today, Torrance is home to the headquarters of the new electric vehicle maker, Canoo. Torrance still maintains its industrial and manufacturing roots with big companies such as Torrance Refining Company and Robinson Helicopter. And here on the 17,000-acre campus of newcomer Ganal Lumber, it still utilizes those original railroad tracks to bring in lumber from the Pacific Northwest.
We've been able to shift gears, but be on a progressive track.
We're benefiting from his enlightened support. The worker is still benefiting in part from what he created.
With 34 parks, one of the largest shopping centers in the world, and a business-friendly environment, Torrance is undoubtedly a worker's paradise. As we celebrate Labor Day 2020, it's likely the city would receive a nod of approval from Mr. Torrance today. For Torrance Citi Cable, Colleen Farrell.
Having 3 small children, homeschooling becoming the new norm, I took a leave of absence from my corporate job and really wanted to find something to do that I could incorporate my family while still being a homeschool parent.
Natalie Buther's 20-year experience in corporate sales came in handy when she launched her small business called Party in My Yardie in June.
I saw all these folks having graduation parades and birthday parties and drive-by gender reveals, and I thought this is a great opportunity to really focus on not canceling celebrations and canceling birthdays, but let's celebrate in a different way that's safe and that people feel comfortable.
With the help of her 2 daughters, they've been making and staking signs for dozens of customers, including one she says she'll never forget.
We did a sign for a 95th birthday for somebody's grandma, and she's in an assisted living facility, so because of COVID, she wasn't able to come out and visit with her family in person. So we set up the sign, Happy 95th Oma, and we faced it to the nursing home, so she was able to come to the window, and her family was all standing outside with her on the speakerphone, and she was crying and, thanking them through the window. And so it was really special to see something that we could create such a memory for her when it could have been a terrible celebration for her being away from her family.
On this day, I got to meet Natalie and her kids outside of the Torrance Police Department, where they donated this special sign that says, "Heroes wear badges."
They are our heroes, and now more than ever, we need them. They need our support.
12-year-old Maddie and 10-year-old Logan say they help their mom to make sure every sign is flawless.
Sometimes I think, oh, this doesn't look good. Oh, maybe we should move it there.
Like for a 10-year-old, they could do a perfect 10, like that.
She pays us with dinner, food, whatever, a roof, all that kind of stuff.
All kidding aside, the girls say they're motivated by their mom, who took a giant leap of faith to start a new business that allows them to spend more time together.
I tell her how proud I am of her all the time, because starting from scratch like that is such an amazing thing.
We're very proud of her and thankful that she puts a roof over our head.
We love you so much.
Love you.
Natalie says this has been a very different type of work environment, but she wouldn't have it any other way.
To be able to participate in a way that brings people excitement and brings joy to them, it's been super fulfilling, more fulfilling than I could have ever imagined.
Hi, I'm Christine with Torrance Citi Cable, and today we're expecting a very special delivery here at City Hall.
This morning, Sophia came in to visit me and brought in masks and facial protectors, shields that she has created, and I am so impressed by this young lady's ability. And in fact, it really makes me feel good to put on my little tiger mask here. Thank you, Sophia.
10-year-old Sophia Reyes says this was the highlight of her day.
It meant a lot for me for him to wear something that I made, It was really meaningful.
What started out as a fourth grade school project evolved into a movement to help others during COVID-19.
And I thought that my sister was also going to go back to school. So I tried a lot of different face masks on her and on me. And she tried on one of the prototypes that I made. And she was more comfortable with the cloth face mask and the face shield.
She drew each animal design on Dad's computer and used mostly household items.
We went through the creative process to make things happen. So we have the materials available. We have some plastic binding covers. We have actually the sponge, we have it at home. We just bought sticker paper to print the designs.
Sophia says she spent most of her summer vacation creating and sharing what she made.
I've been donating them to frontliners, to teachers and kids with special needs. And I've also donated them to other states, and I want to make a batch to donate to Mexico.
Sophia's parents hope more families will support their children's imaginations during this pandemic.
I've been working from home for about 5 months, and I have more time to spend with my family, with my girls. And that time has to be used in a meaningful way. If you have time, spend it with your kids. If they have ideas, push them and make it happen.
Mayor Fury echoes Reyes' sentiment and challenges more Torrance residents to take part in the city's Dare to Care challenge.
This should be an inspiration for a lot of people. When we have a fourth grader who can do something this positive and this progressive, what can you do? And I ask everybody, do something. Do something nice. Do something for your neighbor. Do something for your family. Do something for your friends. And just a random act of kindness. And let us know about it.
Mayor Fury says this has been a memorable visit.
They are the first guest I've had in City Hall for 5 months. One of the things you miss, or I miss, as a mayor, is the personal interaction. That is what I always say, the best part of being a mayor.
He hopes more people will continue spreading kindness throughout our city as we continue navigating through this time in history together.
It's the Torrance way. It really is. And it's the Torrance family. And it's not just one family, it's all 148,000 or so people that live here. We're all one big family.
At City Hall, I'm Christine Lee. Hi there, I'm Christine with Torrance Citi Cable, and today we're checking out the Torrance Certified Farmers Market. During COVID-19, there is only one entrance, and remember to have your mask on when you enter. Come on.
The whole idea of this farmers market, this COVID-19 farmers market, is we are now an essential business, and so we're a grocery store.
The farmers market looks and feels a bit different during the pandemic.
We've installed a lot of changes. We set every single farmer 10 feet apart. We don't have the musicians people are used to. This is about 80,000 square feet. I think we added an additional 15,000 square feet, and that's just so we can keep social distancing and not crowd everyone together.
Roughly the same number of vendors now occupy a lot more space throughout Wilson Park.
It gives me more steps per day, which is my goal. I need my 10,000 steps, so that just helps me.
Reiner Auto is one of about 2,700 customers who are out here on this Tuesday to stock up on his produce.
I want to continue to support these vendors because I know everybody's suffering, and we love fruit and vegetables. They're very fresh here and good quality.
Shoppers like Otto are crucial to these vendors' survival.
It's our whole livelihood, like this is where we get everything from. We make connections, we sell good products to people appreciate us. It's like our family,
Cristo Silva says his dad's small business is actually seeing a slight increase in sales due to COVID-19.
Grocery stores were having issues keeping up with demand, so a lot more people turn to the farmers markets. Open air too, people feel more safe around here.
A few vendors down, Lydia Jaime says loyal supporters helped keep her farm in business when times got very difficult.
The customers got together and they started calling and they're like, we need, is there any way we could all get together and we'll put in orders and we'll make boxes? And so our customers were great. They were a blessing, actually.
She appreciates every customer and says each purchase makes a big difference.
That's so much help. I mean, like I said, we would have had so much that would have gone to waste. not only that, but we have employees we have to pay, we have land leases. The water bill is not cheap. Water is really expensive. So it kept us afloat, thank God.
The Torrance Certified Farmers Market is open Tuesdays and Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. I'm Christine Lee with Torrance Citi Cable.